Sushant, great to have you with us, and thanks for joining us. I'm enjoying a nice leisurely cup of Starbucks this morning as we chat. Tell me, how is it taking over, a behemoth in the coffee industry, in the coffee shop space? Starbucks, when it first launched, had really ambitious plans to change behavior in the Indian market and expand extremely rapidly. As you come in and take over, where do you feel it currently stands in the Indian market, and what will your ambitions be?
Right. So it's been 14 months actually since I've been on this role. So it's been a while. Actually, I was part of the team that set up Starbucks in India. While I was part of the Tata system, but I worked on the strategy and the launch and bringing the brand in. So, many a times you don't get a chance to come back and see something that you started in some way, where it stands. So when I came back I think what has been achieved in the 10 years since the launch is phenomenal. In terms of, I don't think we would have imagined that we would spread this far and wide. Today, we are there not just in the metros, but in 30 cities across the country. So I think when you ask about whether we have managed to establish the Starbucks brand and expand rapidly, I think nothing says that better than the fact that today we are successful across 30 cities of the country. Not just tier one, but even tier two cities, even the smaller markets. We are present in markets like Siliguri, Cochin, Calicut, Bhubaneswar, you name it, and we are there. And I think that's what it
So
means.
the assumption always was that, while premium and aspirational, Starbucks would always be a touch too expensive for some of these markets. And, now that there's a lot of competition, existing brands of your, yes, but also a lot of newer, younger brands that are coming into the tea and coffee space, the sort of coffee shop and quick dining space, that it's going to get even more challenging. Would you agree, or would you say that you have a definitive edge and you're well on track?
Our view is, that there is a lot of space. There's a lot of headroom in terms of growth. If I, and all of us know this, if I look at the Indian beverage consumption space, tea is 91% in terms of penetration when it comes to households. Coffee is 11%, even including South, where coffee drinking is quite common. So in terms of the headroom to grow, and even in terms of the way we see the food and beverage industry going, in terms of people spending it out of home, I think there is a lot of space for everyone to grow. So I think in some ways competition is good. It will only grow the category. I think as far as we are concerned, we are very confident in terms of what we bring to the table, in terms of our coffee expertise, in terms of coffee from all regions, coffee growing regions, in terms of the best Arabica, top 3%, the craftsmanship and the warmth and the connection. So for us, as long as we continue to do what we are good at and what we stand for, the Starbucks experience, I think we should be good.
Okay, talk to us about the new menu, because that's the one that's been making all the headlines of late. A lot of excitement, and I think it's about time as well, even if I say so myself.
So, so it's not just about the menu. I would actually like to go back a little and give you a little bit of a background in terms of what we are trying to do. I think this actually, in some ways, is the next phase of our growth. I think the last 10 years has been about establishing the Starbucks experience, the brand, and I think we have done a good job with it. So today, if I go to the consumer knows Starbucks as a coffee expert, Starbucks as a place where they can go and relax, aspirational, international. I think this is the next stage in terms of getting the next set of consumers. So we are doing multiple things. First is a launch of 3 new beverage segments. So we are launching filter coffee, we are launching masala chai and cardamom chai, which is Indian, and we are launching milkshakes. We are launching a new size, which is what we call as the Pico, which is 180 ml, and we are launching a whole range of food. And the food is again divided into different subsegments, more like bite-sized, shareable. And the idea behind all of this is that we realize that while we are satisfying a lot of what our current consumers want, but for the new consumers, we need to give something more. there are a lot of consumers, or there are also many occasions when people come into Starbucks and they find that maybe they wanted a Indian masala chai, or they wanted a filter coffee. Or we see sometimes families come in together, let's say on a Sunday, weekends, and there are kids. And like many Indian families don't want to give tea or coffee to the kids, which is why milkshake. Similarly, if you look at the food, there are many a times our portion sizes. You are sitting in a Starbucks, so you can well imagine the portion sizes are quite big in our case. One of the things that the consumers came back to us and said was that if I go to a Starbucks and I am between meals and I'm looking for something light to go with my coffee, you don't have bite-sized articles. So that is why the food menu now has bite-sized. Or if you're going out with your colleagues or your friends, you want something that is shareable. You want one item which you can all share. So there is a whole range of shareables. So that's the thought process. Create a whole slew of products, both beverages, sizes, food, which will cater to our occasions and also hopefully attract new consumers to our fold.
Sushant, you're actively into health and fitness. So I want to know what you actually enjoy eating or drinking at Starbucks. Eating is a bigger question.
I eat everything. I actually love the croissant. My personal favorite. I just cannot. Every time I'm in a Starbucks, other than coffee, and I know I shouldn't be eating as much as I do, but I do. So the croissant remains a favorite. Then, in terms of have most of the desserts, the New York cheesecake again is a favorite. So yeah.
Okay, now you also joined at a time when the industry was coming out of the worst period, right, in terms of the pandemic. And Starbucks, of course, did a lot of delivery and kept things going on that front. And it's great to see people out. I'm sitting at Starbucks this morning, and it's full. Everyone's here having coffee and working. Um, but tell me, in terms of projections, have you had to realign them? You are also at the same time continuing to launch new stores, and so share with us really how the plans are working out. Do you still see yourself a while away in terms of meeting certain projections and targets?
So our recovery has been very good, and I think, and we have seen this across many segments actually, that the consumers have come back, and hence, if I look at the current situation, if you look at it, we are on the same store basis as compared to pre-COVID at a number which is much higher than what we used to be. If you look at our last year, in terms of the results that we announced, we saw a 76% growth, which was very healthy and robust. We actually opened the highest number of stores last year during across our 10 years of existence. So we have continued in terms of a expansion plan. We continue to remain aggressive in terms of and bullish in terms of what we believe the market has to offer. And the good thing is that the numbers are still coming in. The dine-in numbers are back to, as I said, higher than the pre-COVID numbers.
Okay. No, I'm curious because Starbucks has always had very aggressive plans to really be present all over the larger Indian market, and in I think there was a phase in the middle when numbers were a little shaky, or we weren't seeing the numbers come in line with the rate of expansion. But clearly, you've still not slowed it down. You're actually saying things are picking up and getting better. That's what you're saying.
That's right.
Okay, and in terms of where India stands for the global player, do you feel that it's emerging as an even stronger market in the overall scheme of things? Where would India lie for Starbucks?
So we are in the top five in terms of the growth rates and in terms of the fastest growing markets. So from the larger global agenda, I think India continues to remain a very strong uh, market for them. I think that will only grow as we grow in size.
What have been some of the learnings, from the Indian market? It is a very unique market. Most brands struggle to kind of find their positioning here since there are so many facets to it. What do you feel have been some of the biggest learnings?
I think to me, and there's actually also my experience in the other sectors that I have and businesses I have led. If you stick to your core competency, and if you do the right things from a consumer point of view, you will do well. The consumer will accept you. I think the couple of learnings and that comes to mind. A is the Indians are value conscious. They are not price conscious. So it's not about the put down price. It's if you afford and give them the right value, Indians will always come to you. To me, it is also about the connection, the warmth, when you go out, the comfort. And I think that is what the Starbucks experience is all about. And that's why, even while it is international, it's about coffee. I think that's the part that works very well. And the Indian consumer has adapted that. I think the third learning, which is important, and all of us, and intuitively, all of us know this, just don't have a beverage. We actually want something to munch along with our beverage. So food is an important part of, even a coffee shop. I think those would be some of the learnings that we have picked up over the years.
Sure. So tell us about the latest cities that you're entering now. I think you have 3 new cities on the radar.
We have opened in the first quarter. We have gone to 4 new cities. I think, if I remember right, Nagpur, Calicut, Jalandhar, and Anand. Those are the 4 cities that we have just entered in the last 2 to 3 months.
And in terms of real estate in these places as a model, does that continue to pose a challenge? Are you finding interesting new ways to, or agreements with local players? How are you tackling that?
So, real estate does remain a challenge. And in fact, that I think, given this way the real estate market is, as we expand, as we go to smaller towns, it's more about finding the right kind of real estate and finding real estate which will do justice to the kind of experience we want to bring to the consumers. That's a challenge. But I think things are improving. We see new development as the economy grows. You're finding newer developments happening even in the smaller markets, which is also aided in terms of expansion. So we are hoping that it will continue and we'll continue to find good real estate.
So what's the big sell factor for a Starbucks in these markets? Because India is a predominantly tea market, and you have newer players, trendy, chai, QSRs. So adding tea now to the menu is great. But what do you feel is a sticky point for Starbucks, apart from, of course, the warmth, as you mentioned, or do you feel that culture sets it apart?
I think at the core of what we are a coffee house. At the core, our expertise is about coffee. Yes, we have launched tea the Indian way, the way, as we say, your mom makes it, or filter coffee or milkshake. But those are for certain people who might want it for the familiarity to break down inhibitions. But at the heart of what we will be about coffee. We will be about the Starbucks experience. And I think that is what will take us forward.
Okay. Diversity is a huge part about what you do, and I've seen you start to roll out far more aggressively the communication around it. What are the plans on that front? What are you looking to achieve?
In terms of diversity and inclusion, we have actually gone out and said that in public, and I've said that a few times now. By next year, we hope to reach 40% in terms of women employees. That's a commitment that we have made. We are already at around 36%. So we are well on our way to achieving that. We were one of the first employees to have complete parity in pay, gender parity in terms of pay, which we have for the last 2 to 3 years. We actually have now 11 all-women stores, and we intend to grow that number. The idea behind the all-women store also is more as creating that emblem to say that even you can have all-women store, and that does require a lot of work at the back end, because many of the government regulations requires you to provide for transportation, for security. If women work beyond certain hours, but that's a commitment that we have made, and we will stand by that.
Okay. And in terms of store formats as well, I mean, we've talked about the new menu or additions to the menu. I think there's a new vegan menu as well. We've seen,
That's right.
Yeah, different kinds of merchandising. And you're also talking about multiple store formats. Which ones are popular? Is there a certain way you look at breaking up the pie, or do you just go with what's working in a certain venue?
So it depends in terms of the consumer segment in a certain catchment area.
Okay.
But we are launching new formats. We did the first drive-through last year in the outskirts of Chandigarh. We are looking to create more of them. We are now present in a significant numbers in the airports. That is a segment that we find quite lucrative. That's a segment that is growing for us. We, in fact, launched in 6 new airports in the last 3 to 4 months. Highways is another area where we are finding as people travel more, road infrastructure grows, highways are quite lucrative. So that's another area where you will find more and more Starbucks. So yes, we continue to experiment with store formats, locations, sizes, but the primary reason is in terms of what the catchment has to offer and what kind of consumers.
Okay. Fantastic. It's great to see this growth story on track, Sushant. And any forward-looking projections you want to leave us with, or anything you're aiming at?
So that is one thing I cannot do. But what I can tell you is that we'll continue to be aggressive. We'll continue to be bullish about the market, and we'll continue to deliver in terms of the consumer expectations.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Great chatting with you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.